Hello, everyone. Once again, this is Dare to Speak. I want to pretty much make another good, valid point on something that has to do with actual combat, physical combat, and whether it's boxing, martial arts, or whatever the case may be. Now, I noticed even when when they fight, especially street fights, or whether it happens anywhere, in any place, at any time, whatever the situation is, I noticed that the more aggressive person who has the better muscle tone, that raw physical strength, usually ends up winning. Now, I know that, people that are into martial arts, they say that technique, and things like that, skill and technique is what really matters. But I have to look at it from a different point of view. If you're not physically fit to a very superb level of physical fitness, in which someone could say, I'm so much in shape, I'm so solid, my muscles are so rock hard, solid with muscle tone, especially if they're gifted with the mesomorph body type. They're the ones who usually end up getting more lucky as far as winning fights against someone who doesn't have that type of ability. Now, when it comes to someone who's the same thing as them and they fight, of course, it's going to come down to skill in that sense. Who has the better strategy, who has the better fighting skill. And then, because muscle tone also helps tremendously for our speed and reflex. It actually really does. One example that I can give would be like Shaolin monks. They have to train every day for hours and hours, and their muscles are so solid that they could handle their weapons, their staff and their other weapons with blinding speed. They could handle it very well. So their speed and reflex has a lot to do with their high level of muscle tone, and their lethal fighting has a lot to do with their muscle tone as well. And that's just how it is. Now, to be completely fair, I know that a lot of people would probably say it's also because of this, it's also because of that. But it's my own intuition and suspicion that the ones that are just, I mean, like I said before, we live in a life of social Darwin. Everything is extremely Darwinistic. The stronger one, especially when it comes to physical strength, it does help out. It does actually give a very serious advantage in many different ways, not just for fighting, but for regular everyday life, where there's physical work and stuff like that. And it gives that person a high level of bravery. The stronger you are, especially in muscle tone, not I don't mean bulk. I don't mean like you know big bodybuilder type muscles. I don't mean that. I'm talking about like solid, like Bruce Lee type of solid muscle. That type of muscle tone actually creates a great level of bravery to the point that you feel very self-sufficient, that you don't need anybody's help, and if you're very good with stamina as well, how much of a advantage that actually gives you, if you really think about it. So I don't know, it kind of contradicts the whole idea of what Mr. Miyagi says, like, and for those of you who saw Karate Kid 2, when Daniel says, well, what would you do if Sato would have punched you, if you would have thrown that punch, that scene when he was about to throw a punch at him, and then Mr. Miyagi said, I would have blocked, I would have blocked it, and he was like, you think you could have? And he says, even you could have. He says, I'm not that strong. And it doesn't matter who's stronger, it matters who's smarter. Well, yeah, I could understand that in that sense. And also in the book, yeah, it says he raised his arm and he says it doesn't matter who's stronger. It doesn't matter who's smarter, who's smarter in that sense. And I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense too, but it kind of contradicts reality in a sense as well. Let's just say he was smart enough to block, but he wasn't strong enough to keep his balance as he blocked it. And how important it is to be very physically strong, especially for extreme combat, when it's to the death and things like that. So it's a little bit contradicting, in my opinion. It's just how it is. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Questions or comments, you know what to do. And this is Dare to Speak. And to all of you, take care.